I wanted to talk about something that has interested me for quite a while. Brick wall genealogy problems. These are problems that you know, in doing your family research, that you come across. Uh, you have exhausted uh, what would seem to be all available resources or avenues of research. Uh, for an example, I will use it as an example. Uh, Something from my family tree. Uh, I have for years been researching my fourth great grandfather, Thomas Woodward Macon. Uh, Mainly, my concern has been trying to find where his place of burial is. Uh, no records apparently exist in Mobile, which is where he would have been buried. Uh, I checked with Magnolia Cemetery, no records there. The Catholic Cemetery in Mobile, there's no records there. Uh, there are no death certificates available. But I do know the year in which he died was about 1869 or 1870. Uh, and I got this from the city directories from Ancestry.com. Uh, One theory which remains in my mind, I found this is something that I discovered while researching his daughters and his wife. His wife was Margaret Ann Moore Macon, and after her husband died, she moved with her two daughters that were left, Carrie Sears Macon and Marion P. Macon. Uh, in 1894, uh, they had moved to Chicago. In 1894, Carrie Macon died. Uh, and then in 1911, her mother, Margaret Ann Macon, passed away. Finally, in 1911, no, not 1911, 1940, Marion Macon passed away. Now, I found the cemeteries where they were interred. Marion Macon I thought, interred at Acacia Park Cemetery in Chicago. I wrote them, I called them, and they told me that she had been cremated. They had no record of what happened to her remains, so I kind of left it at that. Uh, then I got in touch with the Graceland Cemetery in Chicago. For a small fee of $10, they gave me all the information that they had on Carrie Macon and Margaret Macon. Surprisingly, I found out that Marion Macon, upon her cremation, was her ashes were buried in her sister's unmarked grave. So I guess she was, in a sense, buried. Uh, it's an unmarked grave. Uh, so this got me thinking. I know that in Magnolia Cemetery, in my family's plot, there is the earliest burial there dates to 1867, which time Thomas Woodward Macon would have still been alive, uh, and his wife would have still, she would have been able to bear children. I have yet to find out if there are any death records available for uh, the child that is buried there. He died in like I said, 1867. He could very well be the son of Thomas Woodward Macon, or he could also be the first child of my third great grandfather and his wife. But if he is in fact the child of Thomas Woodward Macon, then I think it's in all likelihood that uh, Thomas Woodward Macon could have very well either he could have been cremated and buried there, or he could have possibly been buried, maybe on top of where his son was buried at. I'm not exactly sure as to how some of those burial practices worked, or you know, I don't know, but it's just an interesting thing. When dealing with brick wall problems in genealogy, you have to obviously go uh, investigating. You have to go about investigating the problem in a roundabout manner, like I've discovered. Uh, Never underestimate the value of any resource because you do not know how valuable the resource is until you take the time to investigate it thoroughly. Uh, a, a resource might not seem to be interesting, or you might not think it would yield any useful information. But as I found out by just a simple phone call, and the expenditure of $10, you can obtain a lot, and it is just really worth it to not give up on it, and just always, if you need to, just take a break from it. Then let your mind relax, uh, and just come back to it, and then you will hopefully have some new theories, or maybe you will have thought of some new resources which you hadn't realized. Uh, Genealogy is just a very rewarding hobby or passion of mine, and I hope that anybody who is watching this has learned something, and then it will help them to solve some brick wall problems.